After years of dieting and restricting your food intake, hunger can feel so dang confusing. You go 1 minute from feeling totally okay, the next minute you're not sure if you're feeling hungry, the next minute you're so hungry that you don't even understand how it arrived. And so much of healing your relationship to food is about connecting to your hunger. But how do you do that after years of being disconnected from your hunger and being told that you can't trust your body's hunger cues? This is a problem that most people face when they begin their food and healing journey. And so it begs the question, how do you reconnect to your hunger? How do you develop a sense, a true sense, and understand all of the nuances of your hunger when you're wanting to heal your relationship with food? Because it matters, right? If you don't fully understand the depth and range of your hunger, it can make things pretty sticky when it comes to your relationship with food. How do you know when to eat? And this is especially so if you've been following diet plans or listening to what other people have told you what to eat for many, many years, maybe for most of your life. And so now you're on your own, trying to stop dieting, trying to stop restricting your food intake, but you don't really understand your hunger. If this is you, I want you to know that you are not alone. There is a way out of this, but it can take some time. So I'm going to talk to you today about ways that you can practice understanding, honoring, and getting to know your hunger so that you no longer have to feel confused about this. My name is Catherine Metzeler. I'm a registered dietitian, certified intuitive eating counselor, and I help people to heal their disordered relationship with food and their body so that they can live more free, abundant, present lives. You definitely want to take a listen to this. I know that you might already have some doubts in thinking about your experience with hunger. If you've been dieting and restricting for some time, or even started to tiptoe into the world of not dieting, or even if you've been on a longer journey in healing your relationship to food, you likely have some doubts as to whether or not this could work. Could honoring your hunger actually be a thing? Could you truly trust your body? Because that's really what we're talking about. Can you trust your body's cues when it's saying, hey, I'm hungry? And the likelihood is that you don't trust your body right now. You don't believe your body when it speaks to you unless it's screaming. And when I say screaming, it means your hunger, your stomach is roaring, and you maybe feel dizzy. And even then, maybe you have some doubts. But nonetheless, you likely don't trust your body right now. So of course you have doubts around whether or not trusting and honoring your hunger could even be a possibility, but I promise it's possible. I promise and assure you that it is. So I want to offer you some ways to get there now. So I'm going to offer you 3 ways that you can get to know your hunger better. But before we dive into that, I want to talk about why it's important to honor your hunger and why it's so difficult to honor your hunger. After years of dieting and restricting your food intake and following what diet culture says you're supposed to be doing, you often are left feeling pretty confused about your body's signals. This is partly due to everywhere that you look in diet culture, it tells you that you can't trust your hunger. It tells you that you should do everything you can to avoid it. It tells you that your body is not on your side, and in fact, you shouldn't trust your body at all. It tells you that you should only need a certain amount of food every day and be satisfied with that, and that should essentially be the same every day. And it essentially tells you as well that there's something wrong with you if you are hungry outside of the window of meal times, if you're hungry at times that don't really make sense. And it sets very rigid guidelines, rules around when you can and cannot eat. So then what happens when you remove all of those guidelines and all of those rules? Now there's a lot of confusion because you have not spent time throughout your life developing a greater connection to your body and to your hunger cues. And so it's really, really important, I believe, when you are wanting to heal your relationship with food, stop dieting, reject diet culture, to get a better understanding of what your hunger cues are so you can adequately respond to yourself when you're feeling hungry. Now, it's really common to feel a sense of doubt when you are starting this work, in particular when it comes to your hunger. You're often left feeling like there's no way that this could be hunger, or is this actually hunger? Should I listen to it? And alongside of that, you might have a lot of fear of, if you honor your hunger, what will happen? Will you gain weight? If you honor your hunger, will you be eating even though you're not hungry? There's a lot of fears that come up in thinking about the process and the evolution and the work that has to go into developing a greater sense of connection to your hunger. So now let's talk about 3 ways that you can practice and start today honoring your hunger, in particular if you're feeling confused about it. The first way is to honor, practice, get to know, feel in your bones that your hunger is going to ebb and flow. What I mean by that more specifically is that by existing in diet culture, you have been told that your hunger is supposed to be predictable, it's supposed to be mostly the same every day, and that should never change at all. And the reality is that just isn't true. That's not how human bodies work. Your hunger every single day, yes, every single day, is going to be different. And I think that's a really beautiful thing about the body. It changes based on what its needs are each day. Now, if you are still in the process of healing your relationship with food and you don't fully understand your hunger cues, that part, especially for some time, can feel very frustrating and sometimes infuriating that your hunger is going to change day by day. The more that you can get comfortable and step into the unknowing, the better off you will be. And you can do this by simply reminding yourself, my hunger is not something that I can predict ahead of time. I'm gonna do the best that I can on a day-by-day basis. And there's nothing wrong with me if I have more hunger one day and less hunger another. It is normal for my hunger to ebb and flow, and to assume that I can predict what my hunger is going to be is rooted in diet culture. So if you ever have thoughts around, why am I so hungry? There's no way I could be hungry. I can't believe I'm hungry at this hour. Remind yourself, my hunger will ebb and flow. Your hunger will ebb and flow. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. This is really important to keep coming back to and remind yourself, because it is the opposite of what you've been told in diet culture, which leaves you feeling like there's something wrong with you if you're feeling more hungry on certain days. The second way to get to know your hunger better is to get a better sense and understanding of the subtleties of hunger. Now, this one can take some work because it requires that you pay attention, you write things down, you ask questions, but it's totally possible. A common way that I recommend doing this and starting this, and this is something that you could do today as well. Get yourself a piece of paper or a nice journal, bring it to you at mealtime, and write down your estimated sense of hunger before you start, after you start, and if you want to check in with yourself in the middle of the meal, that's invited too. Now, what do I mean by this more specifically of estimating a sense? When you sit down, or when you're standing up, or when you're watching TV, right? We eat in different places of our house. Take a moment, can be a couple of seconds, and just write down anything that you're noticing. Are you feeling something in your stomach? Are you feeling something in your throat, your mouth? Are you noticing thinking about food a lot? Are you feeling irritable or having low energy? Just write down some of the things you're noticing, and then take note of how you're feeling afterwards. This can begin the process of you gathering information about your own unique hunger cues. A lot of times we think about hunger of being a sensation that we exclusively notice and know in our stomachs. The reality is there's all kinds of ways that we feel and experience hunger, especially the nuances of it. There's a lot of sensations and feelings when it comes to hunger that you will experience before you get to the place where your stomach is growling. In fact, even when it comes to stomach sensations, a lot of people will feel the absence of something, what a lot of people describe as sort of an empty feeling, before they get to a place of it grumbling. So, sit down, get yourself a notebook or a nice journal, take note of how you're feeling before and after, possibly during. If it helps you to use a scale, great. You can rate your hunger on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being really, really, really hungry, and 1 being a little bit hungry in its beginning, and anywhere in between. Over time, by practicing this, you're gonna get a sense for your body's unique hunger cues. Some of us have similar ones, some of us have different ones, but this is up to you, and this is really where the work lies in helping you to cultivate a greater sense of and connection to your own hunger cues. And a third way is that I want you to start developing, repeating, and practicing mantras. Now, before you resist, before you say, I am not into mantras, I don't believe in them, or whatever, it doesn't matter. I feel you. I've been there. I rejected mantras for a long time. I didn't believe in their effectiveness, and it turns out I was very wrong. So if you're there, if you're feeling like that, you're definitely not alone. I've been there. And here's what I want to offer you if you believe in them or you don't believe in them, which is you already have mantras. You already have things that you are repeating to yourself every single day. In fact, I can guess, especially because we are talking about hunger, that you already have a handful of things that you tell yourself all the time. Likely is, how could I possibly be hungry right now? I just ate. There's no way that I'm hungry. You shouldn't be eating right now. Is that actually hunger? Are you sure? How could you even want more food after all that food, right? And there's probably more that you are using. So the reason why I say I want you to develop mantras that you practice is because you are going to have to replace the current ones that you have with new ones. And what you repeat to yourself actually has an impact on you. It actually matters. So mantras like, I am going to honor my hunger as best as I can today. Or, I am going to practice honoring my hunger and I am learning. It's okay that I don't get it right every day. Or, my hunger is going to vary every day and I cannot predict it. If you like this video and found it helpful, I'd love for you to give it a like below. And if you want more from me, subscribe to my channel, check out the free resources that I've made for you, and I'll see you back here soon.